A study in Proverbs, chapter 31, an excellent wife. The words of King Lemuel, an oracle that his mother taught him. What are you doing, my son? What are you doing, son of my womb? What are you doing, son of my vows? Do not give your strength to women, your ways to those who destroy kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel, it is not for kings to drink wine, or for rulers to take strong drink, lest they drink and forget what has been decreed, and pervert the rights of all the afflicted. Give strong drink to the one who is perishing, and wine to those in bitter distress. Let them drink and forget their poverty, and remember their misery no more. Open your mouth for the mute, for the rights of all who are destitute. Open your mouth, judge righteously, defend the rights of the poor and needy. An excellent wife who can find? She is far more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not harm all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax and works with willing hands. She is like the ships of the merchant. She brings her food from afar. She rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and portions for her maidens. She considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hand she plants a vineyard. She dresses herself with strength and makes her arms strong. She perceives that her merchandise is profitable. Her lamp does not go out at night. She puts her hands to the distaff, and her hands hold the spindle. She opens her hand to the poor and reaches out her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of snow for her household, for all her household are clothed in scarlet. She makes bed coverings for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them. She delivers sashes to the merchant. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and she laughs at the time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She looks well to the ways of her household, and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. Many women have done excellently, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her the fruit of her hands, and let her works praise her in the gates. Our final installment is the excellent wife. Who can find? She's far more precious than jewels. It is astonishing sometimes to observe a mother's sway over her son, even after he has grown up and left the house. When he returns for a visit and is given an order, he will follow it like he was a little boy once again. Even in the realm of her teachings, he will reflect back on her words long after she has passed on from this life. Such is the influence of a mother. Chapter 31 is a single chapter attributed to King Lemuel. Who is he? Well, that information is lost to the annals of history. Nearly every commentary will speculate as to his identity. Whoever he may have been, he has rung the bells of wisdom throughout history and lauded the roles of mothers and wives. Yet, notice these are not his words, but the words his mother taught him. This is consistent with what Solomon taught earlier in this book. In chapter 1, verse 8, "Hear, my son, your father's instruction, and forsake not your mother's teaching." In Proverbs 6, verse 20, we read, "My son, keep your father's commandment, and forsake not your mother's teaching." Perhaps you are familiar with the adage, "The hand that rocks the cradle rules the world." Well, here's your proof. A king swayed by his mother's teaching. She taught him about a life of temperance and self-control, and to be cautious of being swayed by the allurement of women. She taught him about standing up for the rights of those most vulnerable and judging righteously. To top this off, he leaves us a poem in classic Hebrew style using the acrostic to celebrate the excellent wife. Through the ages, this 22-verse poem has been the inspiration and standard by which women and men the world over have sought to achieve and to attain. I personally have taught this to girls and boys, young and old, believers and non-believers over the years. Betty Friedan sought to sway the whole world of womanhood with her 1963 book, The Feminine Mystique. But her efforts paled when compared to the real power of a woman, a wife, and a mother, as portrayed and taught by Lemuel's mother. What Friedan sought for women to have had already been proven 3,000 years before. Every line of this poem lauds the success of this remarkable creation of God. Search the passage for what the woman cannot do, and you'll be long at it. What wealth, what treasure, what riches can a man search for that are not found in his own home? All that he has been entrusted to her. How is it that the husband is known in the gates in verse 23? You think he achieved this apart from his wife? Think again. Look at the text. I've read from time to time articles that sought to put a dollar value on what a mother would earn for all her talents. Talents like academic advisor, accountant, athletic director, coach, dietitian, event planner, groundskeeper, janitor, judge, magistrate, laundry manager, maintenance supervisor, photographer, plumber, psychologist, nurse, tailor, social media specialist, just to name a few. Thanks to salary.com for giving me that list. If paid what she was worth for all these roles, her income would be in the neighborhood of $178,000 a year. Take a look at those modern roles listed and then look at Proverbs 31 in those 22 verses. On top of all this, she is a merchant and businesswoman outside the home, verses 16 and verse 24. She reaches out to the poor and provides for them in verse 20. One might think she's worn out and grumpy, but notice she teaches wisdom and kindness is on her tongue. Nothing resentful here. Imagine that after all that she has accomplished, if her family was unappreciative. But they are not. She is indeed appreciated by children and husband. And oh yes, she fears the Lord. Her husband won't be the only one known in the gates. Can you think of a more honored profession? Have we given her the honor she is due? I hope that this 31-day study has been profitable for you. I know it has been for me. And Lord willing, we'll meet again on another day and another study.